A7, you must have come from heaven. I've never seen anything quite like you before. How I love you, there's nothing that's above you. I've never seen anything quite like that before. Here we go. I don't want 4/3, no, not at all. Nor APS-C, it's just too small, and it doesn't have full frame goodness. Oh, A7, I think you came from heaven. I've never seen anything quite like you before without your kicks on. I've never seen anything quite like you before without your trousers. I've never seen anything quite like you before in the photographic world, that is.
Well, hello again and welcome back to Xenography. It's been a little while since I did one of these videos. I'm going to talk to you today about the Sony A7, and I'm going to talk about a few reasons why you might want one. I was undecided for quite some time before I bought this camera. I already have some cameras. I've got far too many cameras. I've got film cameras, digital cameras. Why on earth, I was saying to myself, do I need another one? But this is such a wonderful advance in the technology, and it's such a wonderful tool that in the end I just went and bought one. So I'm going to talk to you today about some reasons why you might want one. And unusually for me, I've actually written some notes today, so I actually know what I'm going to say to you. The first reason that I can think of is that it's very cheap now. It began in 2013, it began around about £1,400–1,500. It's now on sale, body only, for around about £800. This is an incredible bargain. Another reason you want one of these cameras, it's full frame. This has a full frame sensor. It's the same size sensor as a 35mm frame of film. And here is that wondrous, incredible, remarkable sensor. Previously, full frame sensors have been very expensive, and they've really been the preserve of professionals who can justify the investment in a machine like that. This camera, the A7, has really brought this full frame technology within reach of many more people. So why is full frame good? Well, the image quality is fantastic. It just is. It's far better than APS-C. It's far better than micro four thirds. It's been compared to having a medium format film camera in your hand. It really is that good. It's got incredible dynamic range, and all the lenses. If you've been doing photography for a while, you may have some old lenses lying around from the 35mm film days. All of those lenses will work and produce the same field of vision that they did on the old film cameras. So you're using the lenses as they were intended to be made. And that's fantastic. You know, you put an old lens on an APS-C camera, assuming you can get the right register distance. Quite a lot of them can't, and you get a crop factor. If you put any of the old lenses on a micro four thirds camera, then the focal length is actually twice what it's really supposed to be. That's not always ideal. So on full frame the lenses work exactly as they were designed to work. Another reason you should get one. You can use any lens ever made. You can use Leica M lenses. You can use Leica R lenses. You can use Leica screw mount lenses. You can use Olympus lenses, Canon lenses, Minolta, Pentax, Nikon, pretty much any lens that was ever made. You can use on this camera. And they will give you their signature look. I prefer Russian lenses. I use a lot of Russian lenses and lenses from around that time. They are said to be technically not quite as good as lenses like Leica, or certainly not supposed to be as good as the modern digital lenses, but really they will give you a quality that you can't get with modern lenses. They weren't designed by a computer. They were designed by a human eye, a human hand, and that means that they've got their own unique look, and that is soul. These old lenses have got soul. Some of that soul stays in the lens. So you can use expensive lenses, you can use cheap ones, you can use the Jupiter 8, which is fixed onto this Zorki here. This lens, it's just incredible. This is a copy of a 30s design. It's a copy of a Sonar, Zeiss Sonar. It opens up to f2. It's a pretty fast lens, and you can buy one of these for £30. You know, I've seen them sell for 20, even £15. And they will give you a signature look. They will make your work, they will make your images look very different to the modern lenses. Modern lenses they're very good, but they have a very clean, clinical, harsh appearance. Personally, I prefer the older lenses. They're full of compromises, they're full of imperfections, but that gives you personality, that gives you warmth, and that gives you soul. You will have to manually focus the older lenses if you get into using those, but the A7 is absolutely fantastic for manual focus, and I'll tell you why. The A7 has a feature called focus peaking. Let me turn this on now, and you may be able to see on here, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, I'll offer it to the camera in a moment. I've actually got an old Helios lens on here. This is a Helios 44 lens. Again, it's a Russian lens. If you know about the old Russian lenses, this is the one with the famous swirly bokeh, or bokeh, however you pronounce that. And this is focus peaking. Let me show you. So if you can see the screen there, you'll see that as I turn the focus ring, I hope you can see this, as I turn the focus ring, you actually get, can you see that little red glow there? That tells you when you're in focus. So all you have to do is turn the lens until you see that red glow, and it's really simple. You can actually do it really quickly. It's not difficult to do at all. It's a fantastic way of focusing. It's actually, sometimes it can be quicker than autofocus. And once you get used to it and over, you know, this idea that you're going to have to focus manually, then it's very, very quick, and it soon becomes second nature, I've found anyway. If you've ever used a rangefinder, or if you're one of those fortunate souls who use a Leica M digital, you will know that manual focusing can be very fast using the little split image from a rangefinder. It's even faster with an A7 with focus peaking, and it's very accurate. Even if your eyesight isn't that great, and actually I don't see quite as well as I did when I was 18. But even with that, even with eyesight that's not quite as good as it used to be, focus peaking means that you always get the image perfectly sharp, which isn't always the case if, for example, I'm shooting this on a GH2, Panasonic GH2. If you're doing manual focus on the GH2, you push a switch and it zooms in and you can see the zoomed in view. It gives you a chance to focus on the detail. I often get that wrong, whereas with focus peaking, it's right every time. It's brilliant. Another reason, look at it. It's beautiful. It actually is literally beautiful. Yeah? It's small, it's tiny. The body is very, very small. The screen on the back, okay, it doesn't quite articulate as well as some screens. You can lift it up like that, or you can bring it down like that. So it's not the best articulating screen, but it's a good screen. It's got lots of detail, it's very fine detail. And it's a beautiful machine. It looks very, very cool. It's all painted in black. It's just wonderful. And if you appreciate the aesthetics of cameras as I do, then it's a really nice thing. Did I mention it's cheap? You can buy this camera for £799 body only, and check out the titles at the end to see where you can get it. Now some reasons why, or at least two. So why some might say you don't want an A7. Firstly, you might hear people say, oh, it's not as good as the A7 II. It's probably not true. The A7 II has in-body stabilization, image stabilization. The number of times I have wished that I have had in-body stabilization is actually zero. Whether I'm missing the point, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like a tremendous advance to me. Certainly not an advance that's worth twice the price. That stabilization does use a lot of power, so your batteries will run down quicker. The body is bigger, it's lost its purity of line, it's becoming a little bit bloated, it's becoming a little bit too large in my view. For me the A7 is perfect. So shoot around the lack of image stabilization. That's really the key to it. And as Henry Ford said, what you don't fit, don't go wrong. Okay, another reason why some people might say you don't want an A7. It vignettes in the corners with ultra-wide lenses like the Leica wides, for example. I don't know, anything over about 25mm or anything wider rather than about 25mm. You're going to get a little bit of vignetting in the corners. It's true, you will notice a tiny little bit of vignetting with ultra-wide angles, but how many times are you going to use ultra-wides? I don't think I've ever used an ultra-wide. That's in 40 years of photography. I've never actually used an ultra-wide. And really, what do you want? An M9, a Leica M9, body only costs around £5,000. This, again, in case you didn't know, Okay, another reason why some might say you don't want an A7 is because you get vignetting in the corners with very wide angle lenses, for example anything wider than about 25mm. Is that true? Yes, it is true. You will get a little bit of vignetting. I actually like that look, so I don't see that that's a terribly bad thing. I really don't think that technical perfection is necessarily a good thing in and of itself. The quality of the image and the feel of the image is really what's important. I'm not sure that technical quality is really the be and the end all. How many times are you going to use ultra wides? I've never used an ultra wide in 40 years of photography. Literally never used one. So I certainly wouldn't, be troubled by a little tiny bit of vignetting with ultra wides. And consider the price. A Leica M9 is around about £5,000 body only. This is £800 body only. And for what you get, I really don't think there's £4,200 more quality in a Leica image than there is in an image from this. I really don't think there is. The A7 does beautiful video because it has that full frame quality, but it has a little moire on patterns, on certain repeating patterns. Yes, it does. It does. So that's not a disaster. What do you do about that? Well, slightly change your focal length. It's that simple. If you find moire, if you're out shooting a movie or shooting a bit of video, and you find you've got a little bit of strobing or a little bit of moire, change your focal length, or just move your camera slightly to the left or the right. Find a better location, shoot around it. This is what professionals do. In a number of years of working with professional filmmakers, professional video shooters, anytime the issue of strobing or moire comes up, which it does, even in high-level top-end kit, the solution is to just shoot around it, and really that's a very simple answer. The quality of the video is just stunning, and I really couldn't condemn it for a tiny little bit of moire. That seems silly. In any case, is it really that important for most people's use? If you're out shooting a bit of video and a brick wall in the far distance gives a tiny little bit of moire, is that a disaster for your video? I don't think it is somehow. If you're shooting a professional movie, yes, okay, but then again, the very simple solution is shoot around it. There's all manner of nonsense talked about lossy JPEG compression, posterization in RAW files. Ignore it. It's rubbish. That is to say, it's probably true, but it's totally unimportant. I've owned an A7 for 6 months and I've never noticed any of those issues, nor have I ever looked for any of those issues. This is one of those very technical points that just doesn't make a difference in day-to-day use. You're not going to notice it unless you look for it, and if you're looking for it, you're looking for the wrong thing in your images. What you need to look for in your images is composition, and the aesthetic qualities of the image. Don't waste your time picking on tiny little technical points, because it's a waste of time. APS-C and Micro Four Thirds have come a long way, and some nice cameras in both of those formats, but the quality simply isn't as good. It just isn't. It cannot be as good as a full frame sensor, and that's all there is to say about it. APS-C is extremely good, Micro Four Thirds is extremely good, but it's not the quality of full frame. Neither of them are the quality of full frame. And that's not a technical point. That's part of the aesthetic of the image. Images from the A7 look more beautiful than images from APS-C or Micro Four Thirds cameras, in my experience. The A7 is pretty poor at focusing in low light, you will hear people say. And those people speak the truth. It's not great at focusing in low light. But that's not a significant problem, I find. How often do you shoot in low light? And even if you are shooting in low light, I very rarely shoot in low light, and even if you are shooting in low light, it's very simple to find a contrasty edge to set your focus with, and just focus that way. So it really isn't a concern. You've also got focus peaking if you want to use it. If you want to go manual, you've got the focus peaking. That will work beautifully in low light. It's not to say that the autofocus on the Sony doesn't work in low light. It does work. It doesn't work quite as quickly as digital SLRs. And for me, that's it. Honestly, it's a detail. To sum up, should you get one of these? Right. If it's the kid's birthday, if you want to take the family on holiday, if you've got other things to spend the money on, don't buy one of these cameras. But if you've, saved up a little bit of money, there's nothing urgent, there's nothing pressing, and you love photography and you want to get into full frame photography, get out and buy one now, because you will love it. This is a fantastic, fantastic camera. So that's it from me for now. So until the next xenography video, whatever xenography should turn out to be, this is me wishing you a happy photography and an enjoyable time. Thanks for watching. Cheerio. Bye bye.